right here is their grand final. They're going to be celebrating like Italy just won the Euros again. That's what we've given them. We've given them hope. We've given them fucking hope. How? Why? Yeah? Because we're pathetic. We didn't show any heart in that last quarter. Are you kidding me?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the round 18 review. Carlton, Collingwood at the empty MCG. They never make a win look easy when they do win, but we win nevertheless. It was quite convincing in the end, even though it didn't look that way for the majority of the game. But it was 13-13, 91 to Collingwood 9-8, 62. What do you say? Going into the game, it was just a weird week. Honestly, a weird week. We got the snap lockdown news after gearing up to, knowing that we were going to be going to another Carlton Collingwood clash and get the redemption from round two. And, we're really disappointed in how they played in round two. And it was that chance and, the rhetoric around, we're not losing to them again. We're not losing to them twice in a year. We can't, I don't think this week was about keeping our finals chances alive. It was just more about pride. And I asked the question, what does it mean to you? And obviously we had the tragic passing of Serge Silvani. And for someone who, I'm 30 years old, I did not grow up watching Serge. I barely watched Stephen play. I don't really remember. I remember the tail end of his career, but I don't remember watching much. But you're just taught. As a fan of the club, you're taught what these legends mean to the club. And for me, Serge Silvani is Carlton. He is the epitome of Carlton. The immigrant, hard worker, came here for new opportunities with the other, immigrants in the mid 20th century, and earned his reputation as a hard worker, a blue collar worker, and that is what the Carlton Football Club is. I know that sort of in 2021 we're a little bit more clean and corporate and whatnot, but that's not what the Carlton Football Club was built on. The foundations of the club were built on hard-working people. Maybe not necessarily the most skilled, but the hardest workers in the room or on the field. And I feel like that's the legacy that Serge leaves behind. And obviously when you're a captain of the club, multiple best and fairest, multiple premiership winner, and then you obviously leave a son who becomes one of the greatest, if not the greatest fullback of all time, and then grandchildren who play for the club as well. I don't know about you guys, leaving a legacy is really important to me anyway. What are you going to be remembered by? We're going to pass away at some point, so what are you going to leave behind? And I just can't speak highly enough of what the Silvani family means to the club. And it was very important. I think when we had that off season last year, and there's some rumblings that Jack might leave and look elsewhere, and I sort of bought into that a little bit. I wasn't sure. I'm like, if he doesn't want to be here, he should go. But no, I think we were reminded what the Silvani family has done for the club yesterday, and it was special. It was very special, and that was the thing. It was like you got to play with the spirit of the club because of the rivalry. Then when Serge passed away, you've got to honour him. You've got to honour the family, and then you've got the next layer of it is one of your best mates, Jack. His grandfather has passed away, and you've got it. There are a few extrinsic factors there that can get you up and about, and the team needed to come together and play with a spirit. The fans weren't there as well. There was heartache everywhere, and they've got a really tough burden and a responsibility to represent the people on the field as players, I feel anyway. And I'm not gonna lie, that fucking first quarter, I was filthy at them. There were holes in the corridor. It was too easy for Collingwood. I wrote it down here. It was a disgrace. It was a disgraceful first quarter. The ball movement from Collingwood was too quick. They had their confidence going, and I'm just thinking, wow, this is going to be really ugly, and it just didn't look good. And I don't know about you, but I really feel like the turning point was when Jack kicked his goal, took the mark in the goal square and kicked his goal. It was interesting because Harry seemed to be leaving the forward 50. We had Jack as a deepest forward. Once he took that mark, kicked the goal, oh mate, you bet your bottom dollar I was looking to see if they'd get around him, and they did. But I felt like it sparked something, and then they just started playing with a little bit more energy, urgency. We go down by 11 points at the half, and I thought we have played as poorly as we have for the majority of the year, and we're only down 11. And then, the third quarter happens. I thought the Pies started pretty well. They were able to get that release kick, and they were able to get that release kick for the majority of the game. But then there was the lift. And it was funny because during the game live, I didn't really enjoy the fourth quarter because I was still so worked up with what had happened in the first three. It wasn't until I watched the replay that I really got to revel in the win, and the stress comes down, and we are a movie. This club, this team, we are a movie. They take you on a journey. They really do. They take you on a journey, and I think that's why the highs are so high and the lows are so low, because of the way in which they do it. But I could go into detail as to what this win means, and I will.
I could go into heavy detail, and I will. And I will go into heavy detail.
This win is important because I think it just reminds me, I don't want to speak on anyone else's behalf, but it just reminded me that there is that care factor. They understand the significance of such games and lifting and why these games are important for the fans. And it brings a connection back with me that I can trust. Like, okay, when we have these certain milestone games, I can trust that it means something to them and they're going to find something to lift. Structurally, tactically, I said it in the preview, it's not going to be about that, and it sure is not going to be about that in the review because it was fucking shithouse. We got work to do. The skill errors are fascinating. I thought without the crowd there'd be a little less pressure on them, and therefore the skills would look better. But if we can just fucking clean it up, we're going to be a really good side. We are going to be a really good side. So many moments, obviously the Jack Silvani, really all his game. The Sam Walsh goal, and then there was Liam.
And we were looking for blood.
Liam. I said it. I can count on him to bring that heat, and he brought it late in the game. The block on my check, and it's things like that that get the fans up and about. We want to see some physicality, clean bump, fair bump, but hard bump. We want to see some physicality. Especially in such a contest, and yeah, it was great. I enjoyed it, and it completely took my mind off what is happening. I couldn't care less about potential extended lockdowns and whatnot, because in the moment, like, the game brought me in the moment, and I'm hoping that such wins, like the players themselves, I'm hoping that such wins are enjoyed by them. And like, it'll galvanise them, like, who was playing together when we beat Collingwood in 2021, in round 18. And it's wins like that I feel like you remember. Obviously, I'm not a player, so I can't really talk about it, but surely they're going to remember that win, and surely that's going to galvanise them. And we need to add more of them. The more we add, the more they taste it. The more they taste it, the more they want more of it. And it really is important that the message that they get, from the coaches is centered around empowering them to keep going. And I just hope that we can build off it for the rest of the year and find some momentum. I'm not talking about finals. I just really want strong momentum to end the year and go from there. I think there's also something to be said about Cripps not playing, and there's now that uncertainty of, who are they going to stop? In a funny way, I mean, Cripps not playing, we know he's hampered, so his ability to run back is limited and whatnot. And maybe in hindsight, looking at the game, it probably took them a quarter to adjust and figure out, like, hey, Cripps is not here. What I've got to do it. We've got to do it. And maybe there's something in that. I think it's important for Cripps to have had the ability to trust his teammates, that he could step away and let them do their thing. And that's part of leadership, I think, as well. You got to give a shout out to Jacob Wiedering, because he was the captain. He looked really good as captain, and I mean, there's a conversation that's going to come out at the end of the year for sure about the captaincy. Because I think what's interesting about our group right now is, in the past, it's been, the few senior players leading the group. We are now led by the younger brigade. It's fascinating. It really is. Harry, Jacob, and Sam Walsh lead this group. They are, and Cripps is a loss, but let's be honest, Harry, Jacob, and Sam Walsh have been the 3 best players for the year. It's probably Sam Walsh, Jacob, and Harry in that order, however you want to look at it. So yes, Cripps was a loss, but he hasn't been at his best this year for the most part anyway. So I wasn't too worried about that. I think it's important that we had a game like that for this group, to have other people have to step up. And I'm just wrapped. I'm just stoked. That's something I can go away from and look back on and say, remember that day? And that's what you want. That's what keeps the flame alive. Because I'm going to be honest, I really was questioning, like, fuck, man, like, I don't relate to these players. They don't play with the passion that I support them with. And it's just hard because you're never going to connect with them, but you have, that's the whole point of when this all works. We have a united front and we're connected, from fans to administration to playing group. And I think that was a step in the right direction. We've got a lot of work to do. I'm not under any illusions, but it was one of those games where you can enjoy the moment for what it is. Got to talk about Swoop Luke as well. What we've been able to do over the last few years is, I guess, sort of reignite the rivalry in social media. And I think it's so much fun. Unfortunately for me and for Pom and for us, it's been 3 years of heartache, or 3 losses in a row, where we become the memes and we're the butt of the jokes, and you got to cop that. That's all part of creating content. If you can't take the piss out of yourself and have the piss taken out of you, you cannot be on on YouTube and on these platforms. So I don't mind that. I love it. It's all part of the banter. And we did the watch along with Luke and Pom, and it's poetic. We need to get like a compilation video of that done, because the first 3 quarters, I can just imagine Pom was losing his mind and it was looking terrible. And then that 4th quarter happens, and then to see Luke just lose his shit, it was fantastic. But I do want to give him a shout out. It's very difficult to do what we do. It's a lot of work goes into YouTube and creating content. It is a lot of work, but it's done from the heart, because you enjoy it. But ultimately, when you have rivalry games like this and you have thousands of people, in your inbox and giving you banter, you just got to be mindful. So as much as I'm going to enjoy and lap up all of the banter, also want to give him a shout out and appreciate what he does as a content creator as well. And it's an interesting evolution of the industry of the game, because we now have YouTubers that are added to the mix, and it provides a good level of entertainment and engagement for all of us to sort of get around. So make sure you go and give Swoop Luke a subscribe, Pommy and Oz a subscribe. And make sure you go on Swoop Luke's Instagram at some point this week, or on his YouTube channel when he puts his review out. And make sure you just give him a little comment that says, "Sending love from Liam Stocker and Blue Abroad." And I think that would be my message from me to you if you're on Instagram or YouTube. Just, we don't want to be too harsh, but we want to give him a little bit of a backhanded cuddle, we'll call it. So anyway, the player of the game, I'm going to give it to Sam Walsh, because I don't have to talk about why. It's very clear. He kept going for every quarter, all game. He had the 39 touches, 9 marks, 5 tackles, went at 80% disposal efficiency, kicked a clutch goal, which really was the one that broke the damn wall, if so to speak. And he's just such a player. We're very blessed to have him. And I hope that he can rub off on the rest of them and hopefully finish the season strongly and jag a few Brownlow votes, and maybe my Brownlow call at the start of the year isn't looking as bad as what it did at the time. So what about you? How are you feeling? How did you experience that game? How did you go into that game with your headspace, and where is it now after the game? Please share with me in the comments. The fan cams were special last night. They were really special last night. I thoroughly enjoyed them. I love wins, and you can't win every week. and that's what therapy's for. But at the same time, this is a group who really should be winning more than what they lose based on where they're at in their careers and their development. So to see the wins is important. We are a starved fan base, and the tide will turn at some point. Whether it's, I don't know, it will turn at some point, and we're going to be here for it. So let me know what you're thinking. Let me know how you saw the game, and we'll chat about it in the comments. And never, ever, ever forget, go the Mighty Blues.